There is a person in your life who never raises their voice, never argues, never begs, and yet they always win. What you're about to learn is drawn from the darkest corners of behavioral psychology. Researchers studying dark psychology, narcissistic manipulation tactics, and covert mind control have identified a silent weapon used by the most dangerous communicators on Earth. It's called frame control. Every conversation has a frame. Think of it as the invisible context, the unspoken rules that determine who holds power in any interaction. Most people fight over the words. The master manipulator owns the frame. Body language secrets, tonality, strategic silence. These are the tools. And once you understand them, you will never unsee them. You'll recognize this in your boss, your partner, your oldest friend. Maybe in yourself. Frame control tactic. 1. The reality anchor. Watch closely. Two people argue. One says, "That's not what happened." The other replies, calmly without blinking, "We both know what happened." Full stop. No elaboration. This is dark psychology in its purest form. The manipulator didn't argue the facts. They anchored a reality and forced the other person to either accept it or look unstable trying to fight it. Narcissists use this instinctively. They don't debate. They declare. Did you feel that? That discomfort you just experienced? That urge to fill the void? That is what strategic silence exploits. Manipulation tactic 2. The vacuum. When a frame controller wants you to expose yourself, they simply stop. They ask a question and then wait. Most people, conditioned by social anxiety and the fear of awkward pauses, will rush to fill the silence. And in that rush, they confess. They over-explain. They apologize for things they didn't do. The body language secret here is stillness. The one who moves least holds the most power. Third tactic, and this one is used by the most sophisticated operators in mind control. Reframing the attack. When someone challenges you with aggression, the instinctive response is defense, but defense validates the frame. The frame master does something different. They receive the attack and change what it means. Example, "You never listen to me." The manipulator responds, not to the accusation, but to what the accusation reveals. Calmly, "You seem really exhausted. When did this start?" The attack becomes a symptom. The attacker becomes the patient. The frame has shifted entirely. And the other person felt none of it happening. This isn't new. The Roman philosopher Seneca wrote about it. Sun Tzu encoded it in The Art of War. Robert Cialdini mapped it in The Language of Influence. But it was the behavioral psychologists studying covert narcissism and dark triad personality traits who gave us the clinical name frame dominance. Individuals who score high in Machiavellianism, one leg of the dark triad alongside narcissism and psychopathy, are found to maintain frame dominance in social interactions up to 73% more effectively than average individuals. They don't argue louder. They argue less. They simply occupy more psychological space. Now, because we believe in protection, not just power, here is how you detect when frame control is being used on you. Signal 1. You suddenly feel like you need to explain yourself, but you're not sure why. Signal 2. The conversation started about them, and now, somehow, it's about you. Signal 3. You feel the urge to apologize for something that wasn't your fault. These are the body language secrets and psychological tells of someone occupying your frame. The moment you name it, silently to yourself, its power over you begins to dissolve. Awareness is the antidote. The most advanced form of frame control is rarely discussed, even in dark psychology circles. It's called the identity frame. Instead of controlling what is said, the identity frame controls who you believe yourself to be. in relation to the other person. Watch. "You're so sensitive," repeated over time, is not a description. It's an installation. It places you inside a frame where your own emotional responses become evidence of a flaw. Covert narcissists and high Machiavellian personalities deploy this over months, over years, until the victim polices themselves, without the manipulator needing to say a single word. This is advanced mind control, and it operates in plain sight. So how do you reclaim a stolen frame? Not with aggression. Aggression plays inside someone else's frame, not with logic. Logic is a guest in their house. You reclaim your frame with a technique behavioral psychologists call the non-anxious presence. It works like this. When the frame controller speaks, you do not respond immediately. You let silence sit between their words and yours. You speak at a slower tempo. You reference your own internal standard, not theirs. Instead of, "That's not true," you say, "That doesn't match my experience." One sentence makes you a defendant. The other makes you a witness. You are not arguing their case. You are living in yours. In 2019, a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology observed 340 couples in conflict resolution exercises. The researchers found that partners who maintained what the study called frame sovereignty, their own psychological reference point, reported 60% higher relationship satisfaction, not because they won more arguments, but because they weren't dragged into someone else's narrative. The highest functioning frame controllers in the study didn't look dominant. They looked unbothered, and that unbothered quality, that is what everyone in the room orbits toward. That is the dark psychology of charismatic authority. Not power projected outward. Power that doesn't need to be projected at all. Now, a necessary warning. Everything you've learned today is morally neutral. Fire cooks food and burns houses. Frame control builds leaders and creates abusers. The narcissists, the dark triad personalities, the covert manipulators in your life, they are not watching this video to learn. They already know. They were born into it or broken into it. You are watching this to recognize it, to protect yourself, to stop handing your frame over to your manager, your family member, your partner, every time they raise their voice or lower their gaze. Understanding manipulation tactics is not becoming one. It is becoming immune, and immunity is what they never wanted you to have. Remember the person I described at the beginning? The one who never raises their voice, never argues, never begs, and always wins. You've now looked behind the curtain. That person isn't stronger than you. They aren't smarter. They simply learned early, intentionally, or by terrible necessity, how to hold a frame that others walked into. The question now isn't how to become them. The question is, what do you build when you stop walking into theirs? If this video shifted something in you, if you recognized someone or recognized yourself, the algorithm will only show you the next piece if you tell it this mattered. Subscribe and watch what we've prepared for you next on Reading Body Language Secrets and the Covert Narcissist Playbook. Because the education continues, the frame is yours now. Use it well.